Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Indus Esports Network on a Sunday night. And a Sunday night, you know what that means. It is supercar racing again, and we are at Oran Raceway in Oran, New South Wales, in the virtual world. Round 4 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, proudly brought to you by Ray White Rural Gander. Joining me in the booth tonight, as always, is none other than Paul Jackson. How are you tonight, Paul?
G'day Aiden, how you going, man? I'm doing pretty well tonight. Ready to kick it for the first round of the road circuits in the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. Why wouldn't we be excited? We are round 4, as previously mentioned, at Oran Raceway. And as Paul just touched on, we're no longer just turning left. We've added some right-hand turns, so that's definitely going to spice it up tonight for round 4, Paul.
Yeah, for sure. As I said last week, this will definitely separate the men and the boys.
Yeah, definitely will. We have young Hayden Sell up the top at the moment with a 106.16, his first time into the series after not wanting to run the first 3 rounds as they were ovals. Hayden's really strong with a strong pedigree in karting as well and a strong road racing background, so no surprise to see him at the top there currently in practice. Dave Trevethan sitting there in P2 with a 106.74, so you can see Hayden's currently got half a tenth up on him. Justin Howe doing a great job there in P4 with 106.92, and Darren McKenzie with pretty much a 107 flat. So Paul, apart from a really good lap by Hayden, there's not a lot between them at the top so far.
Yeah, it will be definitely be interesting to see. We'll just bring that up anyway and just have a look. So, yeah, it's the playing field might be quite even tonight compared to how we thought it might have been.
Yeah, exactly right. And these cars, they'd be pushing for a fast lap all through practice to try and show their intention and say, look, I'm fast, guys. But you know as well as I do, these cars only have that pace for a couple of laps. So 1.5 ton, big, heavy cars, and you light those rears up, your car starts to go off really quickly.
Yeah, and you really got to watch out for that turn 2 as you come through the sweeper there into the Coca-Cola corner, that you don't lock that front left just as we see Kay Donnelly do it there and loop out. But yeah, that's going to be one of the corners to really watch for tonight.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there, Paul, but we've just gone into qualifying now. So before we settle in with the car, and we're going to take you on a lap or a couple of laps of a car, and we're probably going to choose Hayden Sell. So, Paul, if you could do me the pleasure when Hayden Sell comes out, just jump on board with him, and we'll run through a couple of laps of the Oran Park circuit in a V8 supercar here on the Indus Esports Network on a Sunday night. But a little bit about the track, as I mentioned earlier, Paul, it's in Narellan, southwest of Sydney in New South Wales. It opened in 1962 and unfortunately closed in 2010, as we see Hayden going out the grid at the moment. This will be his warm-up lap. He'll get everything nice and warm, and then he'll go for his 2 qualifying laps. I believe tonight, Paul, is still the standard 2 standalone qualifying laps, but it's probably extended to an 8-minute session, I believe. No, it looks like it's still a 5-minute session. Sorry, I can see that there. My apologies. So the guys are going to have to be really quick to get out the gate if they want to set a good lap time.
Yeah, definitely haven't left much time from there, so they'll definitely want to be leaving the pit lane as soon as that went to qualifying if they want to get 2 laps in.
Yeah, definitely. But as I said, we're on board now with Hayden Sell out of Brisbane in Queensland, currently going down through the backside of the track as he's warming up, ready to do his first flyer. So he'll try and get a good run through here, click into 4th, carry all that momentum and get a really nice, good braking zone into the final Recaro corner. So we'll see him here. He'll drop back to 2nd, about 120 kilometres an hour through this corner, just under that actually at 100. Accelerates slightly, gets on the power into 3rd. Waits into 4th, into 5th, and he'll just select 6th as he's about to come through the sweeper here, all the way back into 2nd, slow it right up about 200 kilometres an hour to hit about 80 kilometres an hour on apex, as we saw him get a little bit loose on the rear there. That wouldn't have helped maybe move that brake bias a little bit forward, but we're coming now up into Shell corner, right-hand corner, 2nd gear, slows it down about 80 kilometres on the apex, slowly on that throttle, click into 3rd to stop the wheel spin. Then back into 2nd, down through this right hander. Now you've got to be very careful coming out of this corner, slowly on the throttle. It's off camber into 3rd, slowly off the throttle. As soon as you hit that apex, back on the throttle, up into 4th if he wants to. No, he's kept it in 3rd. through here, keep it nice and smooth, get right to the exit, and now aim straight for the apex, back on the exit, up into third, up into fourth over the top by the looks of it, and down into the final Recaro corner, back into second, about 100 kilometres as he did on his warm-up lap. Into third as quick as he can out of here on the power, up into fourth, and we'll see where that puts him after his first lap in qualifying. And looking at the live timing, he's just gone straight to the top with a 106.28. So good lap there by Hayden Sell. We'll see whether he can better that on the second lap, Paul. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of an onboard of what it's like in a supercar around Oran Park Raceway.
Yeah, it was a great call there from you, Aidan, and you saw a lot of steering input and a lot of work on that wheel there around here at Oran Park, so it's definitely going to give the drivers a fair workout tonight.
It definitely will, and 40 laps, you might think, ladies and gentlemen, 40 laps is nothing, but there's probably going to be around about 20 to 25 gear changes a lap around here, a lot of braking zones, and there are going to be a lot of people wanting to make passes, so the concentration levels are going to be high. The race is going to go for approximately an hour, maybe just over, depending. Being a road course, I don't believe there will be cautions, Paul, either, so unless they throw a caution, I do not believe it'll be cautions because it's on iRacing. They'll just be local, so as we go into the last 10 minutes of qualifying, as mentioned, Hayden Sell sits on top of the leaderboard there with a 106.28. Ben Stewart about 0.4 of a second outside his time with a 106.68. Sorry. Dave Treatherton very close behind him, a thousandth of a second with a 106.69. Aaron Dillon in P5 currently with a 106.86, and Andy Barber rounding out your top five currently in qualifying. It looks like, and Andy's time rather was a 106.98, so it looks like there's only about 0.3 of a second between second and fifth at the moment, so the track temp, not sure on that whether it's hot at all, but that's really close at the front with the top five all getting in the 106s. But we've only got 20 seconds to go rather, Paul, before these guys are about to line up the grid and go green for round 4 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. But a big shout out to the sponsors. This is brought to you by Ray White Rural and Gander, AP Esports, and Witcher Electrics also on board, helping out the series. So thank you to those guys for getting on board. But Paul, we're just about to go into quali. It looks like that's our grid at the moment. But a quick tip before we bring up the grid. Looks like Paul's mic's gone there, so we will jump into the grid. So off the front row, we have Hayden Sell on pole, Ben Stewart outside him in P2. On the inside of the second row is Dave Trevathan with Aaron Dillon outside him. Row 3 is Andy Barber and Cade Donnelly. Row 4, Justin Howe, Dwayne Priest. Row 5, Gary Wellman, Darren McKenzie. Row 11, Troy Davidson and Shannon Wright as we wait for that to roll over. Row 12 is Todd Maxwell and Pete Matson. 13, Christopher Finlay, Harrison Dietrich. 14, Raymond Yeager, Nigel Payton. 15, Sam Katakouzanos and Philip Howe. 17 is Adam Malone, Greg Spencer. And rounding out the grid, I believe, second last row of the grid is Justin Witcher and Mick Rush. And I believe Scott Perkins is rounding out the grid, Paul, as we're about to go green. So a little bit of a different start here too, ladies and gentlemen. Being an E-Series and predominantly oval, they usually do rolling starts. So I was expecting them to do a standing start tonight. I'm not sure whether some of those guys felt comfortable with that clutch, Paul. So we're seeing a rolling start tonight.
Yeah, definitely. As to road course, it's usually predominantly standing off the start line and dropping the clutch as soon as that light goes green, but we've got the pace car on the track there, so I think it might just help tidy the start up anyway, not cause any errors there, and hopefully everyone can keep it clean through the first couple of corners. Yeah,
it's sort of dime a do or dime a dozen in that scenario. You're either going into the first corner at 260 kilometres an hour and trying to pull it up, or you're going in with 15 cars trying to take the one corner at 80 kilometres an hour. So either or, I think it's going to be an interesting turn one, Paul, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But we've got Hayden Sell on the pole as our pole sitter for round 4 at Oran Park as the pace car pulls away to take the green.
Yeah, and he's running his usual Cell Racing livery. His mum has racing ears, so he'll have that logo on there as well. But great job. He's off the inside row. Ben Stewart on the outside row. As said, Dylan and Treverton on the second row. So Hayden's going to bring him onto the straight and bring him onto the green here. He's not allowed to go until it's green if it is oval racing rules. And we are green here at round 4 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries on Intersim Esports Network. We have Hayden Sell leading the field with a clean set of heels at the moment, down into the sweeper. We'll see if they can all pull them up into Coca-Cola corner. They're coming down here into turn 2. They're all being very gentlemanlike at the moment, Paul, as they're just trying to settle in.
Definitely, that was a great start there from Hayden and everyone included. Everyone keeping it clean through turn 1 there and turn 2.
Yeah, we haven't seen any incidents come up at the moment. Everyone's had a really good start. We'll see if there's been any big movers at the moment. Justin Howe had a nice solid start there. He's already up 2 positions into P5, so a nice solid start for him. But Dwayne Priest, he's going backwards at 1,000,000 miles an hour now. Something must have gone on with Dwayne. He's down 14, 15 spots. So not sure whether he's had an incident with Gary Wellman, but we'll go back and have a look and see what happened between those two. So up the inside, just wait for that to happen. Looks like he's not giving him enough room on exit, and it looks like he's going to tag. They'll end up left-hand side into the fence, maybe. No. That's all right. We're a little bit early, but we might be able to catch that later for you, ladies and gentlemen. But Hayden Sell still out in the lead at the moment with a nice little gap over Dave Treverton, rather. But Paul, Dave won't be minding this. He'll probably want to sit it around about that gap for a little while, because getting up in behind that car is just going to heat those front tyres and get a lot of push. So he's probably just want to stay in the draft just a little bit and try and stay away from that and all the aero wash. But in saying that, this lead slowly easing out. Hayden currently 1.39, just gone 1.4 seconds in front. So Hayden's going really well at the front. We're only 2 laps in. I know I get a little bit excited, Paul, but this is what motor racing's all about, and this is what the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries is all about. So Ben Stewart there on board in the amazing-looking Detroit Mustang. That's a really, really nice livery, like that one from Stewart. So he's doing a great job there up in P3. Oh, all right. Now we start lap 3, and I can take a breath, Paul.
Yeah, I think we need to settle in a little bit here, and got a couple of guys in pits, and I noticed Justin Witcher there actually started from pit lane, so not too sure if he just wanted to stay out of the early drama and come out and do his own thing there, but
I would strongly suggest you've hit the nail on the head, Paul. He's done that out of safety. He is currently second provisionally in the points for the championship after 3 rounds, so he won't want to be doing anything silly tonight and just trying to get a solid result. I think he's banking on a few guys making mistakes in front of him, so we're only 3 laps in, but it's a long time to see whether that equates to what Justin's thoughts are. And sorry, Justin, for saying what I think your thoughts are, but I think I'll be pretty spot on.
yeah, I think you might be right there, Aiden. Definitely, yeah. I'm not sure how a few of these guys will be feeling on road course tonight, but everyone's doing a great job here tonight so far.
Yeah, the gaps aren't moving out as quick as I thought they would, Paul. Looking at the practice times, qualifying was a good gauge on 1 lap time, but they're not falling away. Sell is doing a great job at the front, but 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th and even 8th at the moment are sort of just, their gaps are just stagnating a little bit, as I just put the commentator's curse on Harrison. I believe Harrison was up the front there, was he? I can't see him on my timing. Yeah, he's currently in 11th, so yeah, he was just behind that second group, as I mentioned, so I just saw there Christopher Finlay having a nice little tag slapper out of the corner there behind Harrison. But Harrison, we're going to get you on board for a lap, but you're away from your Discord before the broadcast. So we do apologise, but we'll do that next week or the week after, whenever you're available. But currently doing a great job there, Harrison, sitting there in P10 now. So he's up 6 spots off his starting position. He'd be really happy with that. But we're back on board, Paul, with Hayden Sell about to pull out a 2.5 second gap over Dave Trevathan, just driving great at the front at the moment, very level-headed but also very fast.
Yeah, and before the broadcast, you actually mentioned Hayden was racing tonight, and yeah, he's just blowing the whole field away tonight. He's real quick.
And he's racing against a lot of people, a lot of different ages, but he's only a young man, and I'll probably guess his age, but I'm suggesting it'll be around the 14, 15 mark. So he's only a young man, but growing into a adult very, very quickly. I think I've been around the karting scene with him or known about him and his lovely family since they pretty much got into karts. So I'm used to seeing him from being little, but he's doing a great job here in the sim. I know that his brother would be right there supporting him, and his mum. They do have sim rigs actually side by side in their household, so they do a lot of sim racing. But yeah, he's doing a great job as the gap goes to 3.2 seconds at the front there, mate. But we might go on and give some other people while Hayden just slowly does his craft at the front here. And let's see where Sammy Kay and Davidson and stuff, and see what their little battles like, because Sam Katakouzanos is usually an absolute master around roads. We've found in other series that we've broadcast and also are a part of, Paul, that Sam is really strong on a road course in any car we put him in, or he gets put in, rather. Currently P12. He's up 7 spots, though, so he either missed qualifying or had a really bad qualifying, I'd suggest, but he's moving up the field there, just tapping on the door of the top 10.
Yeah, Sam actually just run out of time on qualifying. I think it was a bit of a late joiner there. But yeah, as we know, Sam's a beast in the legends at Bathurst and especially Phillip Island. There's a couple of Aussie tracks there, so we'll see.
Sorry, you go, Paul. I'm just making comments in the background, little noises, oohs and ahs.
Yeah, we'll see how Sammy goes at Oran Park, another Australian track.
Yeah, I'm sure he will be there somewhere at the end. We still have pit stops to transition, pit lane transition times, how fast they're going to come in the pits, whether they're going to hit their pit boxes, all those anomalies that go into motorsport and the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. So we are only 7 laps in, but all those things to unfold in front of our eyes here on a Sunday night at InterSim Esports Network. But Paul, 7 laps in, how good is this? We haven't been disappointed for the first 3 rounds, and at the moment we're 7 laps into 4, and we definitely haven't been disappointed for round 4 either.
No, this is going really well, and Darren McKenzie here in P4 is all over the back of Justin Howe for P3 here at the moment.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful and patient here, Darren. He doesn't want to just get that nose in the wrong spot and turn Justin around. I'm sure if he's got the car pace, he'll be able to set him up out of the final corner possibly and get a run on him down into the sweeper and into Coca-Cola corner for turn 2. So I'm sure he's trying to set up that move now, but we'll just keep on this battle and see whether Dave is going to be able to get through the S's here and down into Recaro corner and get that run. He's gone a little bit narrow. I thought he wouldn't get a run with that, but he must have way better rear tyres because it looks like he's got a decent run onto the straight. We'll see whether he gets that slipstream into the sweeper. It looks like he's a little bit too far back, so going that narrow on that final corner didn't help him get the foot down, but it looks like he has a little bit more car speed at the moment. As we see a mistake, so there it was. Forced him into a mistake. Justin Howe made a mistake that's allowed Darren McKenzie to jump over the top of him. Aaron Dillon's there ready to take up the position as well, and it looks like Aaron Dillon's just been let around the outside. So, or Cade Donnelly, rather. Sorry, Max. Timing doesn't catch up as much as I want to talk. Sometimes it can be a hindrance, or maybe I just need to slow down. One of the two. But Cade Donnelly back there in 4th. Darren McKenzie now made that position his own. Dave Trevathan has made his position his own in 2nd. Darren McKenzie has got that position for 3rd. So we're all settling down here at the front. Lap 8. I'm really interested on the strategy at the moment on when these guys are going to pit. I would strongly suggest we're 75% fuel, Paul. Tell me your opinion on this. And we didn't look at fuel drop, ladies and gentlemen, so this is just going on experience. I would strongly suggest they're going to want to run out their fuel stint as long as they can and probably be pitting around about lap 21 to 24, I reckon. I think that's where we'd be about at.
Yeah, not too sure on that. I'm not sure if we could grab someone here tonight. I'm sure they're all going to be focusing on what they're doing. But yeah, a bit of a lock-up moment there, I think, from Aaron Dillon there. And got Andy Barber here, another guy that can be pretty quick on road circuits, especially a Watkins Glen in a cup car. He's looking to get on the back here and pass Aaron Dillon as well for that 6th spot.
Yeah, and this just shows exactly what pressure can do as Aaron's making those little mistakes. We previously saw that with Darren McKenzie on the pass of Justin Howe, just staying in that mirror and staying somewhere that's just saying, hey, I'm here. And that moment he just looks in the mirror and misses that one break point as he goes a little bit wide there. Aaron Dillon, the move will be made. But in saying that, we do have Ben Stewart right there hassling the coattails of Andy Barber. So good battle here between these 3 guys sitting in P6, 7 and 8 currently, doing a great job. But looks like Aaron Dillon there just got a little bit of a better exit to get a little bit of a gap there on Andy, but Andy's just closed straight up under brakes. So good little battle here, Paul.
Definitely, there's another bit of a lock up there, and Aaron's actually off track wide, so he's taking the service little service road there on the side to stay out of the way for these guys and jump back on the back of the pack there. So that's good driving there from Aaron as well.
That could have been a little bit of a mirror moment that I just mentioned, but that's 2 spots we've seen with that. A little bit of pressure over the rear. Those mistakes are happening, and it looks like Andy nearly made one there, but good recovery. So Andy now takes that position up into P6. He's actually down 1 spot on his starting position, so he must have had a really tough start to the race, but he's slowly working himself up there. One I'm really surprised on is Ben Stewart's down 5. He started out of P2, and he's running around at the moment around about a second slower than Hayden Sell. So whether he's got a little bit of damage, which doesn't really look like there, or he's just fried his rears way too quick doing those qualifying times, because we've blinked an eye, Paul, and we're in lap 11 of 40, so we're already over a quarter way there.
Well, where's that time gone, Hayden? It only feels like it's been about 3 or 4 laps.
It does, and that's how good the action's been. You haven't been able to take your eyes off it. This is the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, and this is what it brings, sensational racing. That gap at the front, though, Paul, over 6 seconds now by Hayden Sell. That's just crazy. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a fixed setup series, so Hayden doesn't have anything different to anyone else. All these drivers are on the same setup, the same fuel load, same amount of tyres, incidents, all those lovely things that we see in iRacing. The only difference is they can run either the Commodore or the Mustang or the Commodore. So shell types and liveries are the only difference here at the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, brought to you, of course, by Raceway Rural Gander. And to be 6.3 seconds up after 12 laps, that's half a tenth a lap on average, Paul. That's a stunning drive by Hayden Sell at the early stages of this race.
Yeah, definitely. It just goes to show the skill level there from certain drivers, and yeah, obviously, he might have been doing that for a lot longer in the V8s than what some of these other oval predominantly drivers have been doing. So yeah, that's quite a show he's putting on anyway.
Yeah, he'll self-confess that he pretty much does a lot of supercar stuff. He's got some good support behind him. I know Sean McNamara did a bit with him in karting, and obviously is involved in his sim racing. He's got a really good team himself. So he's definitely a supercar racer. I'd love to see him come across and do a couple of ovals if he ever wanted to get the content. But anyway, let's go back to where the action happening at the moment. We just had Gary Wellman. It looks like that may be Justin Witcher. Yep, just looking at the livery, and Shannon Wright having a little bit of a battle there. So there's these little 3-way battles all the way across the circuit at the moment, mate, after 13 laps.
Yeah, definitely. Little battle packs going on, 3 and 4 cars throughout the race there. So Gary looks like he's had a bit of a rough night. That car's looking a bit battered and bruised there.
Yeah, from a night that started out pretty promising, I saw in practice. He's down 7 spots on his starting position, so he wouldn't be too pleased about that at the moment. I'm sure that car wouldn't be feeling too crash hot under him either, as the front wheels are about 3 inches outside each front guard. So he's just done a little bit of a modification to his Holden there. I'm not sure whether the aero will like it, but hopefully he can get to that first pit stop and get some of that fixed and get back out there and have a solid finish.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like Sammy K has now just moved up into P11 there, past Christopher Finlay, and he's now putting the moves on Harrison as well.
Very gutsy there by Sam to make the move. He's obviously happy with his pace, but across the top there on the inside, it's a very, very risky move. You've really got to trust your counterpart on the outside, but all drivers did a great job there to allow that move to happen. But so that sees Sam Katakouzanos now up into P10, rather 9 spots up his starting position. I'm just looking at his lap times as opposed to the guys in front. He's been caught up in traffic, so he's probably sitting on the same pace at the moment as 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. So if he can keep going this way, he is definitely going to rattle the feathers of the front guys. Don't be surprised too, Paul. You know as well as I do, undercut in the supercar as well as the NASCAR that they do, but the undercut on this can be seconds. So who's going to blink first? Do they want to do the undercut and hold on to those rears at the end, or do they want to hold on as long as they can and just hope they've got the car pace to catch back up? So strategy is going to be a big thing here. We're going to be going into that pit stop window very shortly, so we're about to see how that plays out, but the gap's now over 8 seconds at the front by Hayden Sell over Dave Trevethan.
Yeah, just looking at the timing, yeah, it's going to be a hard one to catch when they're pitting, because as you know, when you come out of that last corner, you're right near pit wall, and that pit entry's no joke either. It's quite narrow and tight to get in there, and the timing's going off with everyone thinking that they're going into the pits all the time.
Yeah, I can see that in blue. Yeah, it is very narrow. There is the pit entries, but they just miss that wall and come down. So it's going to be interesting when those names stay blue for an extended period of time. They're in the pits. But anyway, Hayden Sell still out at front, lap 15, about to go into lap 16, another quarter of a lap. He's building that now out to nearly 9 seconds. So I know we're only 15 laps in, but unless he makes an absolutely crazy mistake, he may have this one already locked up 15 laps in with the gap he's got. Andy Barber currently still in this battle, just peppering on the back of Justin Howe here, just like he did earlier. We'll see whether Andy can get that move done, but it seems to be settling down outside of the top 4 that are all in the 107s. The next 10 to 11 cars are all in the 108s, so it's starting. Looks like the car is starting to even off at the moment and slow down. So looks like all the drivers are on the same stuff. It's just whoever's got the most in their rears to get the drive off the corner. But Paul, we just said before nearly a quarter way in. We're now nearly halfway in. Raymond Yeager doing a great job down there in 17th. He'll be the first to say that he is a self-proclaimed not the best at ovals, at the road courses rather, but he's doing a great job just keeping his nose clean there in P17. He's currently where he started, so he hasn't gone backwards, hasn't gone forwards. So currently a nice steady night at the office there for Raymond in the Pinnacle Esports Holden Commodore. So Mick Rush, it looks like Mick Rush and Scott Perkins are out, Paul, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think they've actually taken to this race, so I think they may have sat this one out possibly.
Yeah, there's no timing there, so I thought I'd just touch on that and see what happened. Looks like Dwayne Priest has a lot of damage. He's currently 15 laps down. He might not be doing another lap by the looks at that. And Philip Howe is currently 5 laps down as well. So now the timing's gone all red on me, but just looking at that at the moment, guys. We're just watching Ben Stewart come through at the moment, just behind that battle pack of Andy Barber and Justin Howe. But Paul, before we go into pit stops, why don't we just stay on board with Ben Stewart as he tries to catch down Andy Barber and Justin Howe for a couple of minutes, and just turn up your volumes and enjoy a lap around Oran Park Raceway. And sorry to cut it short, ladies and gentlemen, I just had the master of the cameras in my ear, and I believe we've just had an incident between Sam Katakouzanos and Christopher Finlay. I could be mistaken, but we'll see whether we can go back and get that replay, see how that unfolded going down into Shell Corner at the moment. Oh, looks like Sam has just got loose. He's locked those rears on entry, spun it around, and Christopher Finlay, great driving to get through there. So it looks like it was a single car spin. Oh, here's Christopher Finlay. No. All right, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. No drivers with any contact, but that was Sam Katakasinos, having a bit of an interesting moment there, but that hasn't ruined his race. He's dropped a few positions, but currently just outside the top 10 in 13th, as we're still right on board with Ben Stewart. We just watching that gap ever so slightly open up between him and Aaron Dillon in 7th spot, and Andy Barber and Justin Howe. Fastest lap on the last lap actually was Darren McKenzie with a 107.23 as opposed to Hayden Sell's 107.89. Dave Trevathan's just chucked down a 107.57. Darren McKenzie's a good 0.3 of a second quicker than the rest of the field at the moment, so he's slowly making his inroads on Dave Trevathan at the moment. He's dropped it down to 3.2 seconds. But we've got lap traffic at the moment, which may cause a little bit of an issue. Very gentlemanly-like driving by that driver. I believe that might be Nigel Payton. Always a gentleman. But Darren McKenzie slowly chipping into that lead that Dave Trevathan has over him at the moment. But we'll see. We're coming very, very close to pit stops, so their tyres will be screaming at them at the moment. I'm sure every single one of these drivers can't wait and get in the pits and dump on a new set of freshies, rather, if I can put my teeth in and get my words out, Paul. But we're about 20 laps to go in, so we're now hitting halfway of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, brought to you by Raceway Rural Gander here on Intersim Esports Network on a Sunday night. Not sure where we are next week, Paul, but we'll get that information before the end. But I know we're definitely going back to an oval, so I'm sure the oval guys are going to be a little bit happy about that, and these road guys are going to be, no, I want another road. But great racing so far, mate. 20 laps in.
Yeah, 20 laps in, and we saw Gary Wellman actually go in for his first pit stop there. So he was the first one to jump, I believe, that wasn't involved in an incident causing to a pit. So we'll see how that works out for him with those tyres over the next 20 laps. And
it looks like Sammy K's just in the box too, Paul. Yep, we're thinking the same thing at the same time. So we'll jump on to Sammy K quickly, see how he goes through pit lane, see whether he hits his boxes. He won't have any damage from that incident, but it looks like he's just looking for some fresh tyres. So it looks like he got into pit lane successfully there. But Hayden Sell staying out at the moment. He's still doing competitive laps and has just done the quickest lap of the last lap over the whole field as well, so by a good 0.6 of a second. So that gap is just growing to now being over 10 seconds. So a lot of guys are starting to pit now. Sam's on his way out. Looks like Darren McKenzie's jumped in and trying to get that undercut on the car in front on Dave Trevathan. So it'll be interesting. Let's see whether Dave Trevathan actually counteracts that and comes in this lap. So Darren McKenzie currently in pit lane. We'll go on with Dave. Oh, Hayden's nearly lost it there, but we'll go on with Dave Trevathan quickly. Let's just see whether he's going to come into pit lane this time around to try and cut off Darren McKenzie's undercut. Darren McKenzie came in with 3 seconds deficit behind Dave. So is he going to blink this time or go for another one? We'll find out in a couple of corners' time. I believe now that Darren McKenzie has actually transitioned through pit lane. He's down 1 spot in 11th, but we'll wait for the timing to correct itself. But Darren McKenzie has done his pit stop. Is Dave Trevathan going to cut him off at the moment? And is he? No, he's not. He's going for another one. So Darren's going to have to really, really hit these first 2 or 3 laps on these green tyres to try and get that undercut, Paul.
Definitely. And he was showing a lot of pace as well through that stint towards the end as well. Closed that gap right up to Dave by 3 seconds before he stopped. So if I was a betting man, then yeah, I'd definitely put my money on Darren to be taking that 2nd spot there, and if not, he'll definitely have a crack at P1 as well, I think.
Well, I reckon we stay on with Dave until he pits, Paul. And the reason I say that, this is one of the most important moves of the race, I believe, in to be able to stay on the podium. Ben Stewart's doing a great job, but he's currently 9 seconds behind Dave Trevethan. So if Darren McKenzie and Dave drive smart, this is essentially, all things aside from Hayden Sell at the moment. We don't know how he's going to go through pit lane. We saw him have a moment just before, so it's still anyone's. But all things aside, the big battle at the moment is the race off pit lane and whose strategy is better between second and theoretically third in Darren McKenzie.
And Dave's not holding anything back as he had a lovely little slide there out of the last corner.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be wanting to hit all his points, his braking markers, his turning markers, accelerating markers. Even though he's got old tyres, he just wants to get all he can lap speed out of these tyres to try and minimise that gap that I am sure that we're going to see Darren McKenzie catch back on him when he transitions through pit lane. So Darren McKenzie, as they are on track, is currently in 7th. So he's there, he's hunting him down. We're about to see the lap difference at the moment because we're about to see Darren McKenzie come across the line. So last lap, Dave Trevethan did a 1.7.68, Darren McKenzie a 1.6.25. So he's just pulled 1.4 seconds on one lap out of Dave Trevethan at the moment, and Dave was 3 seconds ahead of him going into when Darren pitted. So Paul, he's nearly half that gap. So is Dave Trevethan going to blink and cover it off? Because I believe if he doesn't do it this lap, he's going to lose second place in this race.
Yeah, I was thinking he's going to go one more because Hayden Sell's just jumped to the pit, so this is going to allow Dave Trevethan to lead a lap here, and Dave's actually going to be one of the lucky ones to get a bonus point tonight for leading a lap.
Yeah, that's really good, and a bonus point would be good because, to be honest, I believe that the difference is more than 1 point between second and third. But hey, a bonus point and a third or a second if I am wrong and he doesn't get the undercut, that's a great effort for him tonight so far. So, as Paul just mentioned, Dave Trevethan's still staying out. Hayden Sell, the leader, had gone into pit lane. Is currently. Looks like he's come out of pit lane and he's still on track position in third until all the timing catches up. So Hayden's pretty much home free. We got 15 laps to go after this one, but 15 laps around Oran Park in a supercar is a long way, Paul, as we previously mentioned. But I am really excited to see when Dave Trevethan pits and where this puts Darren McKenzie. Darren McKenzie is currently only 8 seconds behind Hayden Sell, and Hayden Sell had over a 10-second gap on second place. Or as we have an incident down the main straight, does he stay out the road? Oh, that was close.
Might just go and have a look at that, but I think that was Justin Howe there. He just got a little bit loose and looped it.
Oh no, someone's going into pit lane and Justin just didn't realise. Great job avoiding him there, but that is done for Justin Howe in relation to race results. He was up there just outside the top 10, but that's going to really hurt him.
Yeah, that was a real close one there. Obviously, car coming in to slow down. As we mentioned, that pit entry there is a doozy, and you got to really watch out for those cars going into pits.
Yeah, you definitely do. I see that Darren McKenzie's pulled the gap now down to under 8 seconds, and it's dropping quickly between Hayden Sell and himself. So Darren doing a great drive at the moment. It looks like that Dave Trevethan and Ben Stewart will pop out in third and fourth respectively when all this rolls through. But Darren McKenzie, nice solid drive at the moment, up 6 spots on his starting position. I think he's going to get another one, but really putting the candle wick to Hayden Sell at the moment, pulling that gap down to under 8 seconds. So he's just letting him know that he's there. We'll see whether Hayden keeps that mature head on his shoulders and converts this into a win after a really strong start, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. He's just slowly chipping away at that lead over time, and he's still got another 14 odd laps there to go. So we'll see how much he can actually hack on that time that Hayden's got there. But speaking of the ones that are up a few spots there, Justin Witcher up 18 spots from starting out of pit lane. He's moved himself up into the top 5.
And he's also gone through his pit stop as well. So last time we spoke about Justin, he was battling for 14th and 15th. So whatever he's done there in his pit stop has worked. Whether he didn't take tyres, that would have been a really, really risky strategy call. And we'll see that as the race moves on, because that's a lot of time to gain through pit lanes, especially when you've all got to take the same fuel load. So keep an eye on Justin Witcher as this race goes on, Paul, and we'll see whether Cade Donnelly, Aaron Dillon and Andy Barber behind start catching him at a rate of knots. But if they don't, then we know he took tyres. But I can almost guarantee you Justin's been out. He pitted... I can see, I definitely got the answer, Paul. Look at me on the sleuth, Aiden here on the InterSim Esports Network. So Justin Witcher is in fifth at the moment, up 18 spots. His last lap time was a 108.4 as opposed to a 106.7 to the guys around him. So that instantly raised eyebrows for me. But his pit transit time, or his standstill time, was 4.62 as opposed to the next best of a 9.67. So that tells me, Paul, he did not take tyres and he's trying to just see what track position he can keep.
Yeah, and if we have a look here, so we actually have Dave Trevathan, Ben Stewart, Peter Matson, and Adam Malone and Nigel Patton, who still haven't made pit stops yet.
No, they haven't. I don't know. I believe Nigel got caught up in an incident earlier. He did go a lap down, so he's just probably trying to get that lap back, which he currently has done, but he's going to lose that again when he pits. So looks like we just have another incident. Is that Shannon Wright again, I believe? Who's in the Milwaukee car? No, that's Harrison Dietrich. Another small incident from Harrison, running so well tonight. He's currently down fourth in 20 after an earlier incident, but he's got it safely on track. His car looks pretty clean, so I'm sure he'll be able to resolve this into a pretty solid result, because he has shown some pretty good car speed tonight, Paul.
Yeah, for sure. Just looks like, yeah, a little bit unsettled there in the rear though, and just losing it. So possibly a little bit of overdrive there, pushing too hard to try and make back those spots that he's down. But yeah, pushing too hard, you can come undone there and put yourself in a worse spot. Yeah,
you definitely can. But it looks like now that those tyres, even on Hayden and Darren, and well, not Justin, but Hayden and Darren especially, that are the first to pit so far, it looks like those tyres have settled down in relation to their peak lap speed, as we see Harrison making another lock up there into the corner, because last lap we saw Dave do a 106 high and the other guys are doing 106 mid, so it looks like it's slowly evening out. But as I say that, Hayden Sell was just a second quicker than him on the last lap, so I may have called too early, but it's definitely not coming down as quick as what it was on those first couple of laps out the pits. But I'm still really interested to see where Dave falls into this battle around the Darren McKenzie. I reckon in behind Darren McKenzie and in between Justin Witcher, but he'll be blinking soon. He can't be staying out much longer because he's not going to be able to utilise those fresh tyres. We all know on a road course, Paul, it's easy to get to the back. Sometimes you may be quicker, but you still have to make that pass, and you need to make it efficiently, decisively and cleanly.
Yeah, definitely. So it's got a 21 second gap there to P2, but again, Ben Stewart hasn't pitted yet, so it's going to be interesting where everyone's going to slot in here. You know, that pit lane transition time to getting out, if he's going to take tyres or not, to try and get a bit of a jump, and yeah, how it's all going to unfold.
Yeah, and it looks like the transition time or standstill time generally is around about that 10 to 10.5 seconds. So whatever it is, transitioning in and then out of pit lane on top of that. But it's going to be about 5 seconds quicker if he doesn't take tyres. But Ben Stewart has now blinked out of second position. He's in pit lane, so we'll watch and see how he goes into his pit box, if we can do that, depending on the camera view at the moment. But it looks like he's going down into his pit box now. See whether he pulls up nicely, doesn't have to reverse. Coming right down to the front because he finished at the front. And there we go, nice clean entry. So Ben's going to get off pit road pretty well at the moment. So we'll see where this puts him, mate. He's currently back into 6th. So this has given us a little bit of an indication where Dave Trevathan's going to come out, but it's definitely going to be a long way back from where he was before Darren McKenzie went into the pits.
Yeah, so moving from P2 back to P8 in a pit stop, so it's definitely going to hurt Dave, I think, and with only 9 laps to go, I'm wondering if Dave's left this too late now. Yeah,
I think he's left it out too late. The tyre drop-off was just too big. We're seeing now that it's really starting to even out with Dave doing 107.7s, and as are the guys behind him. So those tyres are evening out, but the time he lost over the last 5, 6, 7 laps is just too much. He's going to be a lot quicker than the guys, about a second and a half quicker when he comes out, but he's going to have to be able to make those passes too. So we'll see where he drops in, Paul. He's going to have to blink any moment now, otherwise he's going to be buried deep outside that top 10.
Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate for him because he's had pretty good pace all night long as well.
Yeah, it has, but it's great news for Hayden Sell. He's going to take the lead when he finally decides to pit Dave. But Darren McKenzie's keeping him honest in there behind, 6.5 seconds behind him. That gap sort of stagnated as well over the last couple of laps. So Hayden and Darren doing a great job. Their times are pretty stagnant as well, within a tenth of each other. So even their best laps, Darren's actually tipped it and got the best laps of the race with a 106.25 as opposed to a 106.38. So an actual lap pace, Darren McKenzie has had the quicker lap time. I believe that's probably when he was chasing down Hayden, but that gap has stagnated. So Hayden will take the lead of the race. He is our unofficial leader until Dave Trevethan decides to blink. But Cade Donnelly doing a great job there, Paul, currently in 4th as well, and Justin Witcher still holding on there in the top 5.
Yeah, definitely. Few guys there that I thought, that might have a pretty good crack at this tonight, and they definitely proved me right. So it's good to see a few of these guys up in that top 5 and even top 10.
Yeah, it's really good. And I'm sure they'll be really proud of themselves too. There are strengths and weaknesses. We all have them when we come to racing, so especially sim racing. So you can see that Hayden has this as one of his strengths. Darren McKenzie's good in most things we put him in, as well. He goes in, not we put him in, but he goes in. He's always at the front. So, but very great on these road courses. Sammy Kay doing a good job at the moment, pulled himself up into P9. He has had his pit stop as well, so he's just trying to do his recovery mission and get whatever he can at the moment after his little incident through here, I believe it was, a couple of laps ago. So Sam Katakuzanos doing a great job there in P9, up 10 positions, especially from not qualifying or doing a lap. Being in the top 10 currently now is great. Christopher Finlay's up 5 spots, Paul, on his starting position in P10, currently 3.2 seconds behind Sam. Another good one, Justin Witcher, he's done 2 stops. So Justin felt like he couldn't manage those tyres anymore. So I was a bit late on catching that, Paul, but Justin Witcher, who was in P5, looks like he's done another stop. So he's only up 10 positions now, only in 13th spot. But Sam Katakuzanos, great job tonight, P9, chasing down Justin Howe. He's got 13 seconds to catch. So unless he pulls out a rabbit here, he's... 1 second. I looked at the wrong timing. Paul just corrected me in my ear. As Sam goes a little bit wide as well. So my apologies, guys. That was 1 second. Now it's going to be 2 to 3. So
Sam must have watched my drift video I put up on the Discord earlier from practice session on how to drift around that corner.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, good job to catch it that time. But here's Andy Barber all over the back. These Andy and Aaron have been stuck to each other like glue all night once the race settled down. So Andy's right there as he always is. Oh, he got on the gas too early, then caught a little bit of inside curb. But with only 6 laps to go here on the Intersim Esports Network for the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, Paul, this battle for this position is definitely going to heat up. Who wants the top 5 more?
Yeah. Andy and Aaron really going at it here, toe to toe. So they definitely want that top 5, both of them. And Dave Trevethan's now made his way into pit lane finally after 35 laps.
Okay, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Trevethan, the leader of this race, has currently blinked, but he's now lost that. There's Hayden Sell taking the actual lead of the race. Darren McKenzie won't be far behind him. Cade Donnelly, Aaron Dillon. So let's just see here. We'll stay on board with Dave. We'll see when he comes out. We'll watch the timing and we'll see how much this has hurt him from running those extra laps. He still had to take tyres, so he would have been sitting there for the same amount of time tyres took. His pit, he actually was a 7.42 on his pit stop. So he's tried to gain that extra couple of seconds through his pit stop by going longer. But we'll see how this pans out. He's currently sitting in P3, Paul.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't drop back further there, but these guys at the front, like P1, 2 and 3, Hayden, Darren, Dave, they've all had great race pace through the night here, and it's no surprise that he hasn't dropped that much off the lead here.
Yeah, he's only 11 seconds there behind Darren McKenzie, so we knew he'd drop back, but I thought he'd drop into the clutches of Cade Donnelly, Aaron Dillon and Andy Barber, but that's all right. He's proved me wrong, so great job there by Dave holding on to that P3 with only 4 laps to go this time round. So it looks like without any incidents, this could be your top 3. The pace at the front is pretty stagnant. We just did see Darren McKenzie take 2 tenths of a second out of Hayden Sell, but he's going to need to do a lot more than that to bridge that 6.54 second gap. We're on board now with the man of the moment, Pete Matson, the owner of Ray White Rural Gander, the naming rights sponsor of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, currently sitting in P15, just down 1 spot on his starting position. We haven't said a lot about Peter tonight from a racing standpoint, so that generally tells you have a pretty uneventful race. So it looks like he's been that way. His car's pretty clean. His pit stop was pretty good, so he's sitting in a good position there in P15 at the moment, Paul. Now just jumping up to 14.
Yeah, he's just doing what he needs to do to bank those points for the championship. Just circulating. Obviously, he started P14. He's still sitting in P14, so he's just in his own little rhythm there and keeping the car nice and clean. But Justin Howe had a moment there. We might just go back and have a look, and he actually towed to pits. So we'll see what happened there for Justin.
Certainly. Oh, I don't know if that's equipment failure because that car went straight ahead, but once it hits that grass, it doesn't really want to move. So very unfortunate there for Justin Howe. Yeah. Very hard incident.
And that'll be race done. They'll be putting that car back on the trailer now with some repairs.
Yep, they'll be getting it back to the workshop as quick as possible because in this series we only have a week turnaround, so the old virtual mechanics are going to be very busy on his race car during the week. But we're on board with Hayden Sell, our leader. He's got 6.2 seconds on Darren McKenzie. It is stagnating there at 6.2. We've only got 2 laps to go this time around, so we will stay and monitor the gap, but we'll stay on board with Hayden Sell and take these last 2 laps around Oran Park for round 4 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you right here live on the Intersim Esports Network. Of course, we always need to, well, we've got a chance with under 2 laps to go. We need to talk about all our sponsors, Ray White Rural and Gander, as I've mentioned several times in this broadcast, naming rights sponsor of this series. Anyone in the Gander region or up there around that area after some property, get amongst them and they will be sure to help you out. Witcher Electrics down in Victoria. If you need any electrical work, whether it be domestic or commercial, look up them on Facebook and YouTube and you'll find them, and also AP Esports for supplying the trophy. So thank you to all those sponsors. Also, thank you, I'll say personally, thank you to all the drivers that come out every night and support the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Not only does it help the series and the guys love it, it helps us from a broadcasting perspective to be able to call some great racing. But Paul, we're now going on to the final lap of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Hayden Sell, clean set of heels, 1 lap to go.
Definitely, and as long as he plays his cards right, doesn't put a foot wrong on this last lap, this is his race for the taking here. But can't go past Darren McKenzie. A solid effort there. Starting from P10, worked his way up to P2 now, up 8 spots, and he has actually been chipping away at Hayden's time there. He's under the 6 seconds now, but unfortunately he's just going to run out of laps to be able to do that. But the biggest battle I want to see is Andy and Aaron here once we go over the line. Which one of these beasts can put the moves on in this last few metres of the race?
Yeah, no worries at all, Paul. We'll do that, but we just got to watch Hayden Sell, as you said. He's about to go take the win of round 4 at the moment as he goes over the O'Brien aluminium dogleg down into Recaro corner. 1 more gear shift, 1 more braking application, 1 more acceleration. He's now out nice and straight. And there you are, ladies and gentlemen. The winner of round 4 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here on the InterSim network is none other than Hayden Sell. Oh, we've gone a lap early, Pauls. I thought that was going to be the last lap. Oh, well, we get an extra lap for our buck, even though it's not an extra lap. I just misread that, so I do apologise.
I think they were pretty keen there.
Well, now I'm going to have to say the whole thing again, and I don't even know if I'll get it right. So, but that's all right.
You've had practice.
I've had practice. That's right. I'll just hit the record button and do it again. So we'll see if I can get it right again. But Hayden Sell, great job here as he goes up over the up over the Yokohama Bridge. He's going to come down now into the Foster's dip through Momo Corner once again and up over the Aluminium dogleg rather, as he's coming up to that section now through the dogleg back down into Recaro Corner, and this time it's one more brake, one more gear change, one more braking point, turn into the apex, off the final corner, up the gears, and we do it again for the second time as he flashes his lights. Winner of round 4 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries is Hayden Sell. Well done, Hayden. P2 will be Dave Trevethan, but Darren McKenzie, but we'll go back to this battle at the moment for 5th and 6th. It looks like Andy Barter has lost the gap there over Aaron Dillon. So let's go. Darren McKenzie's crossed the line. Looks like Dave Trevethan's just about to come across the line as well into P3. P4 will be Cade Donnelly, about 5 seconds behind him as he comes across the line. Now the battle for 5th and 6th. It will be Aaron Dillon rounding out your top 5. Great drive there by Andy Barber. He'll be disappointed, probably down 1 spot, but a nice solid result there in P6. Ben Stewart won't be happy with that, I wouldn't believe either, coming across the line. P7 down 5 spots. Sammy K, one of the movers of the night, up 11 spots, coming onto the main straight now. He will finish in P8. P9 will be Christopher Finlay, coming across the line as we speak. And top 10 is going to be Todd Maxfield. So Todd Maxfield's making his way onto the main straight at the moment. And Paul, that'll be your top 10 for round 4 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here on the InterSim Esports Network. We'll let the final of the field as one of the Pinnacle e-racing cars have an issue, but those guys a lap behind did finish a lap earlier. So it looks like that is your final result, guys, for round 4 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Nice little burnout there from Hayden. He could have done a little bit more of an expression session. Would have liked to see that, but nevertheless, it's P1. So great job by Hayden. But we'll quickly just go through the finishing order, Paul, if we can bring those up before we bring the guys into the booth. So the unofficial race results, guys, is P1, Hayden Sell, P2, Darren McKenzie, and rounding out the podium, P3, Dave Trevethan, with a great job on that strategy, holding on to that podium spot. P4, Cade Donnelly. Rounding out the top 5 was Aaron Dillon. P6, Andy Barber. P7, Ben Stewart. P8, Sam Katakouzanos. P9, Christopher Finlay. Rounding out the 10 was Todd Maxfield. 11th, Justin Witcher. 12, Troy Davidson. 13, Pete Matson. 14, Gary Wellman. 15, Adam Malone. 16, Raymond Yeager. 17, Greg Spencer. And 18 is Harrison Dietrich, Paul.
Yep, and moving on to P19, Nigel Padden and Shannon Wright for our top 20. Justin Howe and Philip Howe, P21 and 22. Dwayne Priest, 23. McRush, 24. And Scott Perrins in P25.
Okay, so that rounds out round 4 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by Ray White Rural in Gayndah. Mate, what a race. Round 4, it didn't disappoint. Some very clean racing there, no big incidents. A lot of different, I wouldn't want to say talent levels, because I believe everyone's as talented as each other, but some different races with different backgrounds around a road course tonight. So some great racing.
Yeah, for sure. And I've just got Hayden and Darren in the booth with us. Oop, hang on, I don't even have my mic unbound here. Yes, I do. It's unbound. That's good.
It's going well here in the InterSim Esports Network.
Yep.
It's going great. But no, we do have Darren and Hayden up here in the booth at the moment. We don't currently have Dave, which is disappointing because I was really excited to be able to have a chat with him. But we'll see whether he gets up in here a little bit later. But we'll roll on, Paul, as we have just finished round 4 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here from Oran Park. But first of all, the man that had a stellar drive tonight, up 8 spots from his 10th place starting position into P2, Darren McKenzie. Darren, have you got a copy? Okay, looks like Darren doesn't have a copy, so we're going really well. So we're going to...
Let me hang on.
Oh, we got him.
I turned my wheel off so it mutes my button.
No, you're right, mate. I just set up 8 positions on your 10th position starting spot, mate. Great drive there to get a P2.
Yeah, I should have been up there to give Hayden a bit more of a run, but I just couldn't get used to the setup quick enough before quali, so it put me back in the field, and I knew I had the pace, but it was catch up the whole time, and getting caught behind people, you lose a lot of time, so I was just never able to make it up.
Yeah, track position's key, and I said on the broadcast it's okay catching them as well, but getting in their hot air and stuff, you've got to be able to make that pass. So that's why it's such a great job to get up those 8 positions. Obviously, pit strategy played a little bit of a part of that to get in front of Dave Trevathan. We saw that he stayed out a lot longer than you, which ideally made that 3-second gap when you pitted behind him, really made you allowed to jump him through that pit stop, and that meant you'd never be headed and you had some fresh air to try and get to Hayden.
Yeah, well, if Hayden had played nice and stayed out for maybe 5 to 7 more laps, it would have been a good race to the finish.
It would have been. I think he's more wise than that, though, mate. But P2, you actually did do the fastest lap of the race with a 106.25. So you weren't wrong. You did get your head around that car, and you were definitely catching at the end. But it looked like with about the last 8 laps to go, the tyres sort of stagnated a bit, and that gap just sort of floated a tenth of a second each lap. Did you feel that's what it was sort of like for the last 8 laps?
Yeah, plus we were catching a lot of traffic as well. Like there'd be 2 or 3 lap cars in a row, so that's where the time ebbed and flowed a bit. And yeah, the tyres were going off. You couldn't get the power down as quick out of the turns.
Yeah, well, good drive nevertheless, mate. P2 been driving really well lately. After a tough night at the office last night, you've backed it up for a solid P2 tonight, mate. So congratulations with that. Is there anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, just the sponsors, Inside Lane Productions and Kenty's Barbecue Southern Style. And yeah, the broadcast crew and everyone that sponsors the league. Thank you.
No worries. And real quickly, I forgot to ask Paul if you got anything you want to ask Darren. That was rude of me.
I think you pretty much covered it. Obviously, Darren, you and I, we've got our own little rival battle on the oval circuit going on. But no, that was a great drive to watch from you tonight, and yeah, it would have put me to shame, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was hoping to pull out the win tonight, but yeah, Hayden Snell come out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, speaking of the man of the moment, Hayden Sell, we still don't have 3rd place, ladies and gentlemen, so we're just going to jump straight to the winner, and then we will give him all the time to shine and then roll into the end of the broadcast, unless we do get the surprise of Dave Trevathan. But P1 of round 4 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, Hayden Sell.
Yeah, thanks.
Mate, pole position start to finish. Got to be happy with that one.
Yeah, I knew Darren was quick near the end, and I knew that I just had to do the first stint, just keep pulling, and then not push too hard near the end, because the further I push, the more lap cars you catch and stuff. So yeah.
Well, mate, I'm not surprised that you were at the front in P1 personally, but were you a little bit surprised at how fast you actually were compared to some of the guys in the rest of the field? I know we had a chat a little bit earlier and talking about the difference of ovals and road courses, especially in this supercar, but were you surprised at how far in that 1 lap pace you were?
I probably had a little bit more, but I knew that the further you push with these, the more risk there is of making mistakes and stuff. But yeah, I didn't expect to be that quick compared to a lot of others. Yeah.
Well, you did a great job anyway, but I'll hand you over to Paul. Paul, mate, Hayden Sell, great job tonight for P1. Anything you want to have a chat with him about before we get on to all his sponsors, etc.?
Yeah, no, that was a great job he did, as Aiden said. Absolutely blew out a big lead there at the start of the race. But the big question is, are we going to see you in some of these upcoming oval races?
Yeah, maybe. Not sure. We'll see. I haven't done much oval before, so maybe.
There's less turning for you. You just got to turn left, but it's a lot of fun in these V8 supercars around the oval tracks, and it's quite door-to-door racing as well. So there'll be plenty more action for you if you want a good run.
Yeah, probably something that's a bit different. So yeah, probably would be a bit of fun, maybe.
Yeah, there we go. So might see you in the upcoming weeks anyway, but I think another 3 or 4 weeks of ovals and we'll be back to another road circuit, which I believe is Lime Rock.
Yeah, probably do that maybe at least. But yeah, might do some oval stuff. We'll see.
Well, hopefully we do, Hayden, because we wouldn't mind seeing you coming into the ovals and roughing up a few of these guys' feathers. You definitely did that tonight, mate. But before we let you go, we know it's getting a little bit late. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to shout out to? Sponsors on the car, sponsors behind the scene, people to help you out with iRacing, mate. The floor is yours.
Yeah, my sponsors from, well, usually karting, but we can't do much of that at the moment. So racing is custom ear protection, surface correction protection, and Racing with Autism Australia.
No worries, mate. Well, once again, from everyone here at the Indosim Esports Network, and I'm sure it's seconded by all the drivers and the guys involved with the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. 1 start, 1 win. Hayden Sell, your winner for round 4 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Congratulations, Hayden.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. Well, Paul, what a race that one was. 40 laps went by with a blink of an eye. Before we knew it, we were calling the end.
Yeah, I don't know where that time flew. Just flew like most of these guys on the track. But we might just have a look at the current championship point standings, which is the unofficial results, obviously. So we'll see how the drivers are sitting now.
Most definitely. I'm sure it's going to be shaken up a little bit, but as we see, it's pretty stagnant at the top again. So Christopher Finlay still unofficially leads the championship on 133 points. Justin Witcher still staying there in second on 128. Darren McKenzie, a good move up 2 spots into P3 with 120. Paul, put my teeth in again. Gary Wellman down 1 spot after a tough night tonight, 111 spots. Raymond Yeager down 3 spots, I believe, there. So a tough night for him as he expected on the road with 108. Troy Davidson in 6th, Cade Donnelly 7th, Shannon Wright in 8th, Peter Matson 9th, Greg Spencer rounding out the top 10 on 94 points. I'm sure everyone tuning in on the Indosim Esports Network can scroll through and find their favourite driver outside of that top 10 and see where they are on points. But the way this point system is, Paul, you can see there that there's only about 40 points behind first and about 10th. So we're 4 rounds in and there's still only 40 points between them. So still anybody's as we're only a quarter way through the first initial Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries.
Yeah, definitely. Not much in that top 10 there from those lower spots. So, you know, it's going to be one of those races. Just put 1 foot wrong or get caught up in the wrong mess, and there goes your points. Yeah,
definitely. It's all going to be about consistency at the moment, which we've clearly seen there by Christopher Finlay. He finished in 9th tonight, so a nice solid top 10. So that gives him 3 top 10s and 2 top 5s, I believe, for the championship so far. Or sorry, 3 top 5s and 1 top 10. But anyway, great race nonetheless. That concludes round 4. But now we look forward to round 5 next Sunday, Paul, and we're back on the ovals at Kansas Speedway. What are you looking forward to about that?
Well, we haven't really. You and I obviously doing a lot of oval stuff, but we haven't actually ran Kansas for quite a while, I believe, on the calendar. So it's been a while since we've been there. So would be good to see, even for a few of these guys that run ovals as well, to be back at Kansas and have a run there.
Yeah, it's going to be great. The tyre deg's going to be there as well on the front, I believe, being 134 laps. It's a little bit shorter than Atlanta Motor Speedway that we saw in round two, which is an absolutely amazing round two from Atlanta. So I'm sure the guys are going to bring their racing game for round five from Kansas Speedway next Sunday night, right here on the InterSim eSports Network. We go live as per usual, Paul, about 7:45 p.m. But mate, round five, Kansas. Can't wait for that one. We do apologise, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have Dave Trevethan, your third place getter tonight for round four of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries available for you. But from us, Dave at the InterSim Esports Network and everyone at Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, we thank you and congratulations on a well-deserved podium. But Paul, we might wrap this one up as we are over a lot earlier than I thought we would be. But guys, everyone tuning in on the InterSim Esports Network here on a Sunday night, we thank you so much. We thank our sponsors and naming rights sponsor, Ray White Rural Gander. Also the other sponsors, Witcher Electrics and AP Esports, and most of all, Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries for allowing us to be a part of it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the conclusion of round four of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries here at Oran Park. We wish you a good night and we'll see you next Sunday.